fine form towards the end of that match, but of course the German crowd did a real good job in lifting Silbereisen, and now she's into the quarter-final against the teenager. If you had to call this one, Gavin, have you got a strong feeling?
Always believe the experience that Feng Tianwei has. Big matches in the past she's managed to match and beat some of the top Chinese players in the national team. Obviously building up to World Championships, this is when you're looking to peak as well. Triple points on offer, so this is the stage you want to excel in.
Well, here we go. First point. It was an impressive return of serve there. Interesting first serve, the long fast serve. Hirano was equal to it. Feng Tianwei, just to remind you, is 30 years of age. She won a bronze medal in the women's singles in London. She won the Korean Open last month, so she's clearly in fine form. Quarter-finalist in Rio, quarter-finalist at the last World Championships, so she's now got to the same position that she did in the World Individual Championships a couple of years ago. And just going back to 2010, she was the Pro Tour Grand Final winner. And of course, the other interesting stat is that China dominated women's table tennis, and you have to go back to 1993, would you believe, to find a winner at a World Championships or an Olympic Games when China haven't won gold. And the one exception to that was in 2010 when they lost at the World Team Event Championships in Moscow. And they lost to Singapore, and Feng Tianwei won 2 games, which was very interesting. But I was coaching for many years on coaching the England team, and it was always fascinating to watch the Chinese. And he dropped the experienced players and brought in 2 youngsters, Shi Hao, and the 2 youngsters lost to Feng Tianwei. But just to tell you, the 2 youngsters are now Ding Ning and Liu Chi-wen, who are number 1 and 2 seeds. So did the coach get it right, or did he get it wrong? He lost the match, but long term, those two youngsters have delivered in spades for China. So it's always interesting, isn't it, with a coach? Do you push the youngsters? Do you hold them back? The danger if you hold them back is when the senior pros finish, you have a gap. But yeah, no, it's an interesting decision. He took a lot of criticism at the time. But the youngster from Japan here is certainly not hanging around. She's opened up a 4-point lead, 5-1. And she now has her 2 serves to come.
We've started to see more and more of the players, especially at this tournament, creeping to the middle of the table to try and exaggerate angles. It's a lot easier sometimes when you've got strong backhand and forehand to be serving from the middle. A lot of the time that invites the opponent to receive into the corners.
(6-3). Japan with the lead. Worth noting that Hirano won the all-Japanese title this year, beating Ishikawa in the final. So the national champion, Miu Hirano.
Ball just brushing the net there. Umpire extremely sharp as always.
So quick to pick up the backhand, Hirano.
As we see there, 2 good receives from Feng Tianwei, but wrong placement. Try and find your opponent's hip on the receive so that they can't get into this flowing style straight away. So maybe that'll be something we see later on.
This time she came across to the backhand and went the other way with the wrist, as opposed to the more traditional banana type action. That was better placement from Feng Tianwei into the hip, that area of indecision where a player's not sure whether to play backhand or forehand. But I have to say, I've not seen a lot of Hirano, but she looks in good form. She won the World Cup back in 2016, as I mentioned earlier. So the Asian Games, beating all the Chinese, was certainly not a flash in the pan. She's competing consistently at the highest level. Five game points. And there it is at the first time of asking. Miu Hirano wins the first game 11-5. Looking in good shape, and we'll be back shortly to watch the second game. So the quick analysis of that first game: only 4 unforced errors from Hirano, 7 from Feng Tianwei, and that was a pretty comprehensive victory for the Japanese player, the teenager. They're both now back at the table, and it's love all, second game. It's interesting that Hirano was left out of the team at the last World Championship by the Japanese selectors, and her response to that was it motivated her to train even harder, which I think is a great response from a player, isn't it, Gavin?
I think it's important in any sport that you remain positive. You have to remember in countries like France, Sweden, Germany, you know, and obviously all of the Asian countries, there is that competitiveness, and it's tough to get in the team. There's lots of opportunities for all the members of the team. When you do get your opportunity, it's important then that you try and push forward and get 1 or 2 big wins. If that's the case, you might be in the team for quite a long time.
And that's exactly what this youngster from Japan has done. And at the moment, she's just a little bit too quick. Oh, and she's got a little bit of good fortune as well. It hit the top of the net and then dropped on the edge of the table, the side of the table. The side edge, actually, is the correct terminology. So, 4-0. And I'm interested to see the service, that forehand serve, which is sort of very reminiscent to me of the Rumgay serve. I don't know if you want to talk us through that one. What are they actually doing? What are they looking to do?
Yeah, with this serve coming round the right-hand side of the ball, the advantage of this serve is that you still have...
Sorry to interrupt, but there it was again. They're using it a lot, aren't they?
Yeah, this serve is becoming typical now And it's more in the women's game. I've seen 5 or 6 of the Asian players over the last couple of days utilising this serve. It's more successful using this serve from the middle as well, because after that, usually the ball comes back to a corner. Players obviously using set plays now a lot. Ball coming back to the corner, set play, you're in with a third strong ball. And obviously the advantage with this serve is the grip. You don't need to, some of the fancier serves, you need to change your grip again before you hit the third ball. That's wasting time. We don't have lots of time in table tennis. 0.1 or 0.2 of a second sometimes after a serve to get back. That adjusting of the grip takes far too much time away.
And you could see there Feng Tianwei doing exactly that, just the bat moving in her hand after the service, going from the service grip to the grip she uses during the rally. Again, just that little bit too quick. Some really impressive young players coming through. And now we've got a 13-year-old boy through to the, still in the men's singles draw. Won again this morning. Clearly Japan putting a lot of time and effort into the players in preparation for, of course, they have the big one, they have the Olympics in 2020. They'll be looking to take a few gold medals from China, which is where they traditionally go. This is very surprising. 9-2, having won the first game 11-5.
Feng Tianwei just overthinking at the moment, but it's important to try and finish a set strong, even at 10-2 down, trying to get another 2 or 3 points on the board to work your way into the next set.
But she'd no chance to do that. That's a great flick. Remember, as I mentioned before, Feng Tianwei won the Grand Finals in 2010, the World Tour Grand Finals. Number 4 in the world, and she's being destroyed at the moment by Miu Hirano, who, as you can see on the screen, leads by 2-0. We'll be back shortly to join the third game. The match statistics just reinforcing really an 11-2 victory. The players now making their way back to the table for the third game, and the young lady in green and black is playing quite outstanding table tennis. 11-5, 11-2. Can the 30-year-old from Singapore get into the game? She's simply not started really at this point in time. She got 7 points to her name. That's better. It's a really good backhand down the line by Feng Tianwei.
But it really took something special there to get on the scoreboard. That's how well Hirano has played in the early stages.
A little bit of backspin on the serve. Just need to lift it a fraction more. It's a good start by Feng Tianwei. Just what she needed, an early lead. really interesting, the point you made, Gavin, about serving more from the middle of the table, so you can't get the extreme angles. And if you're strong backhand and forehand, then there's a good chance you're going to get in. You get the opportunity to get in with a strong third ball, and it's interesting watching how the game develops. There's always new techniques, new thinking coming in. It's not that long ago when you got told off for returning with your backhand from the forehand side of the table, and there we saw Hirano. What did she do? Short serve to the forehand. She comes round and returns it with the backhand. It's almost now a bread and butter return for the best players in the world because they can get more wrist into the shot. That wasn't thought of 10 years ago.
And this is when you give credit to the likes of, you know, some of the older players, you know, guys like Samsonov, Timo Boll. They've had to evolve, they've had to adapt their games. Timo Boll, before, it was all a topspin serve short, he would touch it short, it would go short, short until the ball came half long, and then he would spin slowly. Now he's learned to develop the little flicks out, keeping the racket higher during the rallies. So it's all quite interesting.
I look at the Korean team and not one pen holder in the Korean team, and yet you look at the Olympics, 32 gold medals for table tennis, 28 have gone to China, 4 to other countries, and 2 of those, Yoonam Kyu, pen holder from Korea, men's singles 88, and then in 2004 Roo Sung-min, pen holder from Korea, but yet now there's not one pen holder playing for Korea. And again, it's how the game develops. It seems to me on the pen hold side, it's that reverse back. You've got to use both sides of the bat. If you only use one side of the bat, you finish now in a pen hold, it would appear.
And probably again, because the rally length is going up, pen hold players before would love to try and finish the rallies really quickly. It was a serve, it was a third ball, maximum fifth ball. A lot of rallies are now extending at least to a fifth and seventh ball.
What a great backhand there by Hirano into that left-hand corner. That's interesting stat there. So here we see the same statistic for Feng Tianwei, and again it's short to the forehand, 2 right-handed players, so that square on the close to the net on the left-hand side is equivalent to playing short to the forehand. So clearly that's an area both players are exploiting. And she was well down in this third game, but she's clawed her way back now to within 1 point. And it's interesting that the Singaporean coach, who's actually one of the best players in the Bundesliga at the moment, Wong Chi, obviously he's been brought in specially to look after Feng Tianwei. He's the one who called the timeout, and I think he's absolutely right, because of course should Feng Tianwei go down 3-0, then to win this would be incredibly difficult, particularly against a youngster who's absolutely buzzing and playing so well. I think she was 6-2 up, Feng Tianwei. 3 consecutive points for Japan, so probably a good time. The momentum clearly back with the youngster from Japan. I don't know what you think, Gavin.
Yeah, definitely. It's sometimes with the timeouts, it's just break your opponent's rhythm. Sometimes just sensing that little bit of danger from the other side of the court as well. I've called timeouts before as early as 8-6, 9-7 in a first set. If I know, you know, the emphasis is on winning that first set, especially against a higher ranked player. So 9-3 back to 9-6 or 7 in a first set, even I've called it. So yeah, everyone has their own thoughts and opinions on when to take a timeout.
For me, this is a must-win game for Feng Tianwei. She had the momentum, she lost the momentum. How do we break it? Let's have a timeout. Not bad thinking. Almost a smash. That went at the speed of a smash ball then. Elbow wrist accelerating rapidly, and that ball went out like a bullet wide to Feng Tianwei's forehand. got to dig deep here, the Singaporean. First angle was amazing, wasn't it? It was short, it was wide to the forehand. We saw that on the statistics. I think that's 5 consecutive points now for Hirano, maybe even 6.
In the opening 2 sets, Hirano was winning almost every backhand to backhand over rally. Been neutralised a little bit in this set.
A long, fast serve. The placement was almost perfect. It was almost on the baseline. It's a steely look there from Hirano.
And the backhand corner does become an area that's susceptible when you're both trying to target the short forehand area.
Oh, what a great point. Feng Tianwei holding the ground, taking her on, backhand to backhand. And indeed, coming out on top. Hirano takes a 9-8 lead. Just misses the angle there, just went for too wide an angle. 9 points each. This really is a pivotal moment now for both players. Hirano with a slight advantage as she has the serves to come. A little bit of good fortune there. That just caught the edge of the table. It was the finest of touches. Game point for Feng Tianwei. Such is the difference between winning and losing. Millimeters or a millimeter. What a backhand down the line. You just think, youngster, not too experienced, be a little bit nervous. Quite the opposite. Very positive play. Just look how she's punching. She's using the forehand serve we've been talking about. Perhaps we should we'll call that the rumge.
Did so well to refocus after the last point when that edge went against her.
Second game point for...
Misses it. Good miss. Positive miss. I'm going to make the next one.
Oh. She smashed that as the ball was rising. Very positive, very aggressive there. Didn't even get to the top of the bounce.
Super rotation there as well in the shoulders. generate that power.
Oh my goodness. Forehand topspin off the bounce. This really is tremendous table tennis from Miu Hirano. She had an edge ball against her. She just did not let that affect her concentration. She missed a shot that she knew was the right shot to play. She missed it. And as you said, Gavin, nods her head. She knew it was the right. She's just completely focused. She knows what she's got to do, and she's doing it. Excellent return of serve by Feng Tianwei. I'm pretty sure that's the case. 12 points apiece. Exciting stuff here. She's coming across to the backhand. No, she's going back to the middle of the table. No, she's not. She's going to serve from the backhand side. Service error. But again, it just shows you even on the service, they're not looking to play safe with the serve. She was looking to get it literally on the baseline. It's a great return of serve to set up the topspin. That push there, it's excellent. She came under the ball, put a bit of backspin on it as well, kept it tight. Oh, wonderful anticipation there. It looked like a well-placed forehand topspin from Feng Tianwei into the body of Hirano. You thought she's going to do well to block this one back. She didn't block it. She stepped out of the way, leant, and then played a counter topspin out wide to Feng Tianwei's forehand. Amazing play. Oh, well played Feng Tianwei there. No ball. Amazing atmosphere. Quite a few people have left the hall. There's still a big crowd here, but basically they're just appreciating the good table tennis here. They're not supporting one player or the other, the German crowd. And you can sense how it's just that little bit, the buzz isn't quite there from the crowd. Both these players playing some excellent table tennis, and it's another game point for Miu Hirano, and timeout called. She has the serve. They can perhaps have a little chat about what serve to use.
Another good timeout, and again, whether she wins or loses this next point, I think this is an extremely positive timeout, because you come back, it's going to be one of the set plays that she'll have done time and time again at the National Sports Centre back home.
Again, let's have a little look again. You can see there the 52%, this time deep on the backhand side. And we look at the Feng Tianwei, and again, this time perhaps more the middle of the table, deep towards the middle of the table, 36%. That's the one that stands out. But the most important statistic of all is that it's 15-14, and Miu Hirano has a game point to go 3-0 up. Can't see her losing from 3-0. 2-1, it's anybody's, but 3-0. Hirano strong favourite, so a big point coming up. Hirano with the serve. Wow! Amazing table tennis. These two were slugging it out there, top spin to top spin. This really is fantastic table tennis. What have I got to do to win this game? That was the look on her face then. Super play from both players, but Feng Tianwei coming out winner of the point. Good short play this time from Hirano. Having exploded with 5 or 6 topspins the previous point, she then has the ability to switch to very delicate touch play, fine skills, a soft hand required to do those shots.
I think from Feng Tianwei there as well, just pushing the boat out a little bit too much. And that was a better one. Waiting for the serve to drift half long, as we'll see. A nice purchase on that first spin up. Not the time at deuce, you're just asking your opponent a few questions, spinning up into that middle area. Can they pivot, can they turn and play a big shot against a heavy spin?
(17-16). Looks like we've gone back in time and we're playing to 21 here. That's how close it is. Game point again for Hirano. But there it is. Hirano takes the third game, albeit by the closest of margins. 18-16. She now leads by 3 games to 0. And she's certainly going to take some beating now. But we'll be back shortly for the 4th game.
Interesting stats here. Feng Tianwei still varying the ball around. And at this level, that's exactly what it takes. Keep your opponent guessing. What an incredible start. 3 sets to love.
Oh, good counter hit there from Feng Tianwei. Interesting to see how Feng Tianwei reacts to that. 3-0 down. Will she keep fighting? I suspect she will. It's the World Championships. But that will have taken the wind out of her sails for sure.
So many times over the course of a best of 7, you look at the final scoreline and it's who won more of the deuce sets. Usually then determines who comes out as the winner of these big matches.
Good topspin deep into the backhand of Feng Tianwei.
The younger players now using so many varieties, variations on receive. Keep your opponent slightly off balance.
Just the start Japan wanted, particularly when Feng Tianwei was so close to winning that third game.
Just too strong. Taking that ball on the rise. If Hirano can push on just another 1 or 2 points here, should be far enough ahead to see it through. She's hitting winners down the line. She's hitting winners cross court. She's winning short. She's got the better service placement. Huge amount of attributes. And it might take another 8 or 9 of those if Feng Tianwei, the Singaporean, is going to get back into this set. Such a big tournament, the World Championships. Triple points, as we've mentioned a few times. So now it's just going to be a story of, can we see Hirano close this out? Does she believe in herself enough to keep these set plays moving? Opting again to serve from the middle. A play that she's seen so much success so far.
The backhand just caught the top of the net. The hand goes up very quickly to apologise for the good fortune. When the ball's travelling so fast, the net court just makes it deviate slightly, but it's so difficult for the player who's reacted immediately, and then the net just moves it a few inches the other way. But I have to say, Gavin, at the end of the day, they normally average themselves out. Very rarely is a game won on luck. Sometimes, if it happens at a crucial stage, people remember it a little bit more. But again, clever placement, a lot more to the middle of the table than I've seen at previous World Championships. Clearly, it's another development that's coming through.
Good players create their own luck as well, touching the ball lower around the net. Sometimes spinning up low as well.
I think the writing is on the wall for Feng Tianwei. 9-4 down. She had a few game points in the third game. She lost it 18-16. But the first game 11-5, the second game 11-2, comprehensive wins for Hirano, and now she's got 6 match points in the fourth game and a place in the semi-final of the women's singles at the age of 17, almost secure. Didn't make the team at the last World Championships, worked even harder, back in the team, and she looks like she's in the semi-final. Not quite yet. But what a good story for any youngsters who've been dropped or not selected for an event. The way to respond is with guts and determination, train even harder. There's a lesson in life there for all of us. And there it is. She's through to the semi-final of the women's singles. She's absolutely delighted, and why wouldn't she be? She destroyed is a strong word, but that really was an impressive victory. 11-5, 11-2, 18-16, and then 11-6, I think, the last game, Gavin. I got a bit excited myself there and missed the score, but 11-6. So a worthy winner, Gavin.
Hirano was superb from start to finish, winning that big extended third set as well. Meant that it was just
I'm form towards the end of that match, but of course the German crowd did a real good job in lifting Silbereisen, and now she's into the quarter-final against the teenager. If you had to call this one, Gavin, have you got a strong feeling?
always believe the experience that Feng Tianwei has. Big matches in the past she's managed to match and beat some of the top Chinese players in the national team. Obviously building up to World Championships, this is when you're looking to peak as well. Triple points on offer, so this is the stage you want to excel in.
Well, here we go. First point. It was an impressive return of serve there. Interesting first serve, the long fast serve. Hirano was equal to it. Feng Tianwei, just to remind you, is 30 years of age. She won a bronze medal in the women's singles in London. She won the Korean Open last month, so she's clearly in fine form. Quarter-finalist in Rio, quarter-finalist at the last World Championships, so she's now got to the same position that she did in the World Individual Championships a couple of years ago. And just going back to 2010, she was the Pro Tour Grand Final winner. And of course, the other interesting stat is that China dominated women's table tennis, and you have to go back to 1993, would you believe, to find a winner at a World Championships or an Olympic Games when China haven't won gold. And the one exception to that was in 2010 when they lost at the World Team Event Championships in Moscow, and they lost to Singapore, and Feng Tianwei won 2 games, which was very interesting. But I was coaching for many years on coaching the England team, and it was always fascinating to watch the Chinese. And he dropped the experienced players and brought in 2 youngsters, Shi Hao, and the 2 youngsters lost to Feng Tianwei. But just to tell you, the 2 youngsters are now Ding Ning and Liu Chi-wen, who are number 1 and 2 seeds. So did the coach get it right, or did he get it wrong? He lost the match, but long term, those two youngsters have delivered in spades for China. So it's always interesting, isn't it, with a coach? Do you push the youngsters? Do you hold them back? The danger if you hold them back is when the senior pros finish, you have a gap. But yeah, no, it's an interesting decision. He took a lot of criticism at the time. But the youngster from Japan here is certainly not hanging around. She's opened up a 4-point lead, 5-1. And she now has her 2 serves to come.
We've started to see more and more of the players, especially at this tournament, creeping to the middle of the table to try and exaggerate angles. It's a lot easier sometimes when you've got strong backhand and forehand to be serving from the middle. A lot of the time that invites the opponent to receive into the corners.
(6-3). Japan with the lead. Worth noting that Hirano won the all-Japanese title this year, beating